So we don't actually know what's really in store for us with this episode. We do know we're going to be playing Would You Rather. So Traci, our copy editor, is here to ask us lots of fun questions. So tune in to hear what we have to say. Welcome to Points Talk with the Travel Mom Squad. Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Pam, Alex's mom.
And I'm Jess. Let's talk points. All right, today we're doing something a little bit different. Traci is back on the podcast, and we are playing a little Would You Rather game. Now, this episode is inspired by an episode from Point Me to First Class. Devin over at Point Me to First Class did something similar on her podcast. Our questions are going to be different. Actually, we don't even know what the questions are. Traci is the only one who knows what the questions are because we wanted you to get our reactions in real time. So Traci's going to kick it off, and she's going to be going through some would you rather questions that each of us are going to get to weigh in on. So Traci, welcome back.
Hi, I'm glad to be back, and I'm excited because I think this is going to be really fun. And I've tried to be a little bit diabolical on some of these, so I'm
Oh dear.
nervous. They should be really difficult. And that's the whole point of the game, right? Would you rather? It's not easy choices, it's hard choices. So, but they're going to be fun. So we actually are, in spite of what Jess said, we're going to start off stealing one question from Devin's podcast because I loved her question and I was really surprised by the answers she got. And I want to see what you guys say. So the first would you rather, I'm going to give it to Pam first. Would you rather fly in business class in a 2-2-2 configuration on a long flight with a stranger sitting next to you and you have the window seat and the stranger is annoying? Or would you rather have a whole row in the middle to yourself of economy that's 3 or 4 seats wide so you could lay down?
I've actually done this. I was in a 2-2-2 for Untitled. I'm not sure if it's 2-2-2, but there were 2 of us on the side, and I was by this guy who was so freaky, made these horrible sounds all the time. I mean, he scared me. I was like freaked out. It was the most uncomfortable experience that I've had on a flight. 100%, I'll take that economy 3 seats. With that type of annoying person. And honestly, I've even with a not annoying person had that. It's really a pain when you have to get up and pee and you've got to climb over that person in the middle of the night. I hate that. So I don't know. I think, even the girl who is pro-business all the way in that type of a situation, you give me the whole row of economy, I think I'd go for that. So I think I'm shocking everyone.
Yes, absolutely. Did not see that coming. What about you, Alex? I'm going to say the same. I got to go the whole row of economy instead of sitting by someone that's annoying and being stuck. And I'm an Enneagram 9. It is hard for me to ask somebody to move so I can get up to go pee. So I'm taking the row of economy so I can just, have my own peace and quiet there.
We're 3 for 3 because I'm also taking economy. You had me in business until you said annoying.
Okay.
And then, because I'm not bothered by being in a window next to a stranger in business class because I don't really get up to go to the bathroom that much. And I'm like, I'll just go to sleep and it is fine. But the annoying part, I couldn't handle. So once you said the annoying, I was like, no, I got to go economy row to myself.
All right. That makes sense. I also were 4 for 4. I would totally go with the middle row in economy. Like, just leave me alone. Okay, so we're going to go with the next one. This is for Alex. Would you rather never have globalist status again, but Hyatt sticks with their reward chart for the next 20 years guaranteed? Or would you rather personally have lifetime globalist starting right now, but Hyatt switches to dynamic award pricing? I gotta go with keeping the award chart. I gotta have the award chart. They're the last good ones out there. And so that would just be pretty devastating. Would it be sad to you? Like, to me, my favorite benefit of Globalist is the free breakfast benefit. And, we went my whole, the first, 5-6 years of being in Points and Miles without Globalist status. And we were fine and we had a great time. So
I would miss my free breakfast, but we would find some nice local spots to go enjoy our breakfast if I could keep the Hyatt award chart.
I love how you're like, we would enjoy local spots. And I'm like, I would just go to Costco and we would be having like cereal in the room. I agree. I agree. This is painful because I've really grown to love my globalist status, but the award chart is what keeps me coming back to Hyatt. So if there were no award chart, I may not even be loyal to Hyatt, and then my globalist
Yeah.
status wouldn't matter. So I am also going to stick with no globalist status, but keep the award chart.
All right. Pam?
We're 3 for
Okay.
3. And I really like what Jess just said, that, I probably wouldn't even stick with them. I'd be bouncing around more between all the other different hotel brands. That is what I love so much about Hyatt, is you just get such outsized value because of their award chart. It's just like phenomenal, the difference in cost redemptions between Hyatt, and then you look at Marriott and Hilton and IHG. That is the best deal in the world, and I just cannot lose those cheap Hyatt redemptions. And you know what? Honestly, as everybody knows, I'm that big of a breakfast eater. So there's sometimes I'm going to have breakfast just because it's complimentary and it's really good with Globalist, but I'll give that
See,
up.
I thought
me-
that maybe you had multiple breakfasts because you have breakfasts, right? I thought you were like the biggest breakfast person, but okay. Okay. Here is a real life example that I think a lot of us make this decision all the time, and I'm curious what you guys do. Would you rather earn 4 points per dollar spent on membership rewards on groceries and restaurants, or would you rather earn 3 ultimate rewards per dollar spent on restaurants and groceries? Because this is a real life problem, right? If you've got Sapphire, if you've got the Gold Amex Personal, you choose this every day. So where do you come down?
I'll go first. This is a really good question. And you know what? My first thought was, I'm going to pair with my Sapphire Preferred. I'm going to do that. And then I realized, actually, I have a credit card saved because I do online grocery orders with like a Kroger grocery store. We have Smith's here, and that's where I shop for my groceries. And my card saved to my profile is my Amex Gold. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to do my Sapphire Preferred. And I don't know when. I think what happened is I want to stay in Amex's good graces, and sometimes I'm not great at using those cards, and so I don't want to get an Amex pop-up jail again. I have been there, I have done that, and I want to stay out of it. And so my idea was, I'm going to use my Amex Gold for all of just save it on my profile, use it for all my grocery spend, and it'll be there's going to be regular spend happening on that card. I do a grocery order once a week. I spend a decent amount on that card. So I'm going with Amex membership rewards on this one, in part so I can just stay out of Amex pop-up jail.
All right, Pam?
We finally differ. And I feel like I can earn a lot of American Express membership rewards through welcome offers, and I am always looking for more ultimate rewards. So if I can get more ultimate rewards, I'm using whatever card I can get that, even if it's a tiny bit lower. A little bit of a difference there. Finally, I thought we are a lot alike. We're not going to just be the same on everything, because we do think a lot alike.
All right, Jess?
So in real life, I tend to alternate. Like it's whatever balance I'm trying to pad my balance more on. So currently, I've been using my Amex cards more, my Amex Gold more, because I depleted all my Amex points with our Qatar Q Suite trip for all 5 of us to go to Tanzania next year. But if I had to choose one for the rest of my life, if you were like, starting today, you can only use one, I'm going Chase. Because in general, I find it easier to accumulate Amex points through welcome offers, through Rakuten, through things like that. And Chase has cracked down, as we all know, on card approvals. And so I'm actually doing a lot to earn Chase points currently through spend categories. So if I had to pick one for the rest of my life, I'm going Chase.
All right, cool. All right, this next question, I have one for each of you that's tailored just to your personal uses of points in your travel habits. So Jess will just answer one, then we'll move on. I'm going to start with Jess. Would you rather stay in Venice for 3 nights, but you're at a brand new Park Hyatt? Because I know you're not a big fan of Venice. Or would you rather stay in Tokyo, which I know you love, for 2 nights, so fewer, at a Holiday Inn Express?
I would give Venice another shot if I were at a Park Hyatt, because even if I hate the city, I can just lounge in my room in my robe like I love
You're
to
going to
do.
fly all the way to Italy just for lounging in your robe?
If it's raining in Venice like it was when I was there last time, and there's alleyways are crowded with people trying to cut my head off with their umbrellas, then yes, I will lounge in my robe in the Park Hyatt Venice and enjoy the views from my room.
So the Park Hyatt love is higher than the distaste for Venice. All right.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
This one is just for Pam. Okay. You can only travel domestically for the next 2 years. But when you do, you get to stay at Park Hyatts and Andazes. Or you can only travel internationally for the next 2 years. But when you do, you can only stay at Hyatt House and Hyatt Place.
My love for a luxury hotel is going to win out on this one, and I will go stay domestically. It just kind of ruins the whole thought for me of, even if I'm going to a really cool place, to not be able to stay in a luxury hotel. I don't know. That's rough, because I do really love my international travel too.
Some Hyatt Houses internationally are really nice, right? Like the one in
They
Tokyo.
are.
They can be nice.
Hyatt
long
House
hair.
Tokyo is nice. You could just only go there. There was like a Hyatt Place airport in Amsterdam that we stayed at. That was like the nicest Hyatt Place I've ever stayed at.
Yeah, the one.
So you could make it work, Pam, if you really wanted to, but
Yeah,
that would be
I
hard
may
for
have
2
to
years.
I may have to change my answer. I just can't imagine. Did you say this was 2
2
years?
years, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can't just go domestic for 2 years, I'm just gonna have to.
Well, and you're out seeing the sights. You're not
Yeah.
hanging out in your hotel
Yeah.
room that much when you go
Yeah.
out
I'm just gonna do a
internationally.
lot of research, and I'm gonna find the very best Hyatt houses and Hyatt places that there are, and those are the ones I'm gonna stay at.
That's what I kind of thought you might say, but I wasn't quite sure. So, okay. It's good. It's good that was a tough one. Okay. Now for Alex, this is going to be hopefully a tough one. Would you rather have 2 Southwest companion passes for your family for the next 2 years, but 0 Hyatt points? Or would you rather have 600,000 Hyatt points to spend over the next 2 years, but no Southwest companion passes?
She probably already has that. She doesn't need Hyatt points.
Well, I would probably go with Hyatt points, which maybe is a surprise. Only, I guess, I don't know. I go with Hyatt points, and I think the reason being is sometimes when you have the Southwest Companion Pass, it can be inconvenient. You're taking inconvenient flights sometimes to, like, we're going to Hawaii this summer, and our flights going there are kind of ridiculous. And they were very expensive, and like a lot of points wise, we're using points for them. But we have to go from like LA. No. We go from Salt Lake to Las Vegas to Oakland to Maui. We have it's a 2-stop. You never do 2 stops to Hawaii. But like, it was way fewer points than the other flight, left at a better time. But if I didn't have the Southwest Companion Pass, yeah, I'd have to spend more points and more money. But honestly, like, I texted Jess about this. I sent her screenshots. I was like, who does Southwest think they are? They're charging so much money for this. The flights were way cheaper on Delta, which is, in my opinion, a much better airline. You have the seatback entertainment in every single seat. Southwest, you don't even know if you're going to have chargers, depending on what aircraft you have. So I'm a little perturbed with Southwest lately. We just flew them to Costa Rica. It was like a 5-hour flight. We had no chargers. It was a super old plane. And it was just like, they charge, their prices are just getting higher. They're charging prices like they are a Delta, and they are not. And then, all the recent changes with the bags aren't going to fly free and all those things, which isn't a huge deal because I have a Southwest card. But I'm just I was really bugged when I was trying to book those flights to Hawaii. And honestly, it would be cheaper for us to if we had to buy 6 flights on Southwest and 6 flights on Delta, it was going to be cheaper for us to just fly Delta, one-stop flight, good times. But because we have the companion pass, we got 2 for free. So it made it a little cheaper. Not even a huge difference, but it made it cheaper. And so I feel like sometimes the companion pass can make it so I have to do things that I don't really want to do, but I can't justify not getting 2 free flights. So that's why I'm going to go with the Hyatt points, because I think it might be kind of nice to not be so locked in with Southwest and that companion pass. As great as it is, it might be nice to fly another airline.
Right. Okay, so now we're back to all 3 of you doing these, and we're going to go with Jess first. Would you rather be in Amex pop-up jail for 3 years, or would you rather be stuck
Been
at
there.
724 for 2 years?
Pop-up jail.
Okay.
I don't want to. I've been in pop-up jail for probably close to 3. No, it was probably closer to 2 years. I was in pop-up jail. But 724 for 2. So no chase cards at all for 2 years.
Right.
No, I would never choose that. I'll just do a lot of shopping on Rakuten to replenish my Amex points.
All right, Alex?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jess on this one. I can't give up those chase cards for 2 years. I haven't been over 524 in years. I do a pretty good job keeping myself under by going for a lot of business cards. So that would just be a whole shift from what I'm used to. I don't think I could do it.
All right, Pam?
This is tough. I do have quite a few Amex points, so it makes it a little bit easier to give that up right now. Hence the beauty of a great stockpile of points. And yeah, I agree. I am not, paying for hotels that are expensive. I've got to stay at my Hyatts. I've got to stay at my Park Hyatts and my, yeah, I got to do that. So yeah, I'd say pop-up jail it is.
All right. Okay. The next one is you can only apply for 1 card over the next period that's relevant. Would you rather get a credit card where the welcome offer is 100,000 points, but you can only use them for airlines? Or would you rather get a welcome offer of 60,000 points, but you can use it for airlines or Hyatt? And we'll go with Alex first.
Can I use them for any airline?
Yeah.
They're flexible
Yeah.
points?
Yep.
I'm gonna go with the 100,000 points on this one, and just use them for flights. Get myself a nice trip to Europe, or probably use them for flying blue. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. Jess?
You stole my answer, Alex. No, I was gonna say I would take the 100,000 and use them for flights, because I do. It's not like I only redeem points for Hyatts. I just pretty much only redeem my Chase points for Hyatts, but I redeem Capital One and Amex for flights all the time. So I am gonna go with 100,000 for flights, and also probably use them for something like Flying Blue.
All right, Pam?
3 for 3. That 100K versus 60K, I'm going to go for the bigger offer and just make it work.
Okay. All right. Another one. We're going to go with, would you rather fly in business class on a daytime flight with comfortable bedding, but mediocre food and service? Or would you rather fly in business class on an overnight flight with wonderful food and service, but really terrible bedding?
I'm going to say daytime flight with mediocre food and service. Because if I'm flying business class overnight, I'm doing it so that I can sleep. And if I have terrible bedding, then I'm not going to be able to sleep. So one airline, 1 flight's worth of mediocre food and service. It's fine. I'll eat at the lounge when I get there.
Right.
So I've got a question, Traci.
Yeah.
Would this be saying it's a round trip, and whatever we don't choose, we have to do economy of the opposite?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, it could be.
Because if I have to do the opposite, like in economy, then I'm going to go with the nighttime not comfortable bed because it's still as long as it's still lay flat, then I'm going to choose that because I can't sleep sitting upright. And then my whole trip is just going to be terrible. What I would do, I choose the uncomfortable bed. I take some melatonin, maybe some Dramamine too, knock myself out. And I'll get some sleep and feel pretty good when I land. And then the daytime flight, I'll take economy. Granted, daytime flights in business class are so fun because you get to actually enjoy the experience. You're not just sleeping. But to me, I just really value getting to my destination and not feeling terrible. But I would have to give myself some sleep aids so I could sleep on that uncomfortable bed.
Pam?
Yeah, I mean, sleep at night is really important to me to get to the next destination. Lots of times I don't even have the meal at night because I just want to go to sleep and get a good night's sleep and arrive rested. So if I'm in a really uncomfortable bed and I've got really bad bedding, I'm not going to get much sleep. And so I think that in that case, I actually sleep pretty good on the day flights too. So
Which is why she has terrible jet lag, everybody.
That's right.
Wait, we need to tell the story about how we flew back from Singapore and we were not supposed to be sleeping. Like we had big game planned beforehand, and we were like, okay, if you need to take a nap, but just like an hour or two, like max. Every single time I went to visit Pam, she was asleep. Like I guarantee you, what was the flight? Like 14 hours? I guarantee you she was asleep for at least 10 of those 14 hours.
I need Pam to get
And we landed, we landed at like 9 p.m. in San Francisco. Like we were literally landing and supposed to go to bed.
Well, guess who didn't go to bed?
Oh, man. But that's such a useful skill to be able to sleep on a plane. Like, I have the hardest time doing that.
It just rocks me to sleep. And, and so if I'm just having a bad seat, if I'm having bad bedding, there's nothing worse to me to be on a plane and have bad bedding. And maybe they're cold sometimes and you're freezing. Oh my goodness, that's just the worst. So I'm going to go for, the good bedding and the comfortable seat, no matter what time it is.
All right.
And I don't really, the food I really don't care about.
You can eat in the lounge before, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next one is dreaming up good situations that let's hope they happen. Would you rather that Citi comes out with 4 new business and personal cards that earn thank you points? Or would you rather get a huge new Chase Sapphire Lounge at your home airport?
I'll go first. I'm gonna go with getting Citi cards because, like, I enjoy a good airport lounge, but I don't always show up that early for my home airport to go to the lounge. And I would say too, like, we don't have many lounges in Salt Lake right now. We only have a Delta Sky Club. We are getting a Centurion Lounge and another Delta Sky Club, and we're getting a United Club. But like, I'll just go to the Centurion Lounge and enjoy that. I do go to the Delta Sky Club here and there, but we have a max of like 8 visits now with your card. I think it's 8. So it would be really cool. I'm not saying getting an amazing Sapphire Lounge wouldn't be awesome. It'd be really cool. But I don't even have any. I've never opened a Citi thank you card. Like, I've applied once, was denied, have never reapplied. And so it is kind of funny that I'm choosing it when I don't even have the one card they have. But the idea of them having more is just like, that's a lot of cool trips I could take if I could get 4. Did you say 4 more?
Yeah, like 2 personal and 2 business if they came out with 4 total new ones.
Yeah, like that would be really cool. So I'm going to go with that.
All right, Pam.
Oh, 100%.
You already have all these lounges in Denver.
I'm the queen
got them all.
of lounges, but Denver has I have a hard time already trying to decide which lounge to go to because we have amazing lounges. I don't need another one to decide to go to. And City with just the one card and you can only reapply in 48 months. It is so, that is a market that needs to expand. So 100%, I'm going to go for City and be able to transfer over to Turkish and fly more Turkish flights. So yeah, 100% City, listen to us. You need to do this.
Jess?
I'm also going to say City. I would say here, I don't know if this is a hot take. Even if you said 2 new City cards, not
Yep.
even 4, even if you just said 2, I would still pick City over a lounge just because City actually has some sweet spots. Like Pam said, only one of 2 banks that transfers to Turkish. They have a really good transfer rate to choice hotels. And so I would love to have more City points. It's just hard to rack them up when there aren't many options for earning them. And then, like Pam said, you have to wait 48 months. So I'm going to go with City cards also.
Cool. All right. Here's another one. We're going to go with Alex first on this one. Would you rather that United becomes an Amex membership rewards transfer partner and still stays with Chase, but also Amex? Or would you rather that Alaska becomes a Capital One transfer partner?
I'm going to go with United. And this is probably not a popular opinion, especially in the points and miles space, because people love Alaska. Alaska gets a lot of love because they have really good partners. But for me and my travel, we do a lot more working with United. I feel like United is very easy. It's easy to find availability. It's pretty predictable. I just use United more. And I'm not even these girls in a United hub, but it just has worked really well for me. So I'm going to go with United as a transfer partner with American Express as well. Traci, these are exciting. I'm hoping
I'm trying to put
I know
my-
these are all hypothetical, but I'm like, oh, this would be so cool. 4 new City cards, like this and that.
Well, if
And,
we say
you
the
know,
good things, maybe they'll happen, right? Like,
yes, we're
manifesting.
manifesting.
sure.
I'm just waiting for people to be like, I heard on the Points Talk podcast that City's coming out with 4 new cards.
Oh, no.
Like,
Seriously.
We're going to be making headlines, but not in a good way.
no.
Okay, I live in a United hub, but I'm still going to choose Alaska as a Capital One partner. United has just kind of devalued their flights recently, and it's harder to justify using. I mean, maybe if I could transfer from Amex to United, I'd do it more. Currently, I rarely transfer my Chase points to United. But Alaska just has some really good sweet spots that I'm a fan of. And so I think that would be really valuable to be able to transfer from Capital One to Alaska. So I'm going to go with that.
Okay. Pam?
Yeah, this is hard because I agree, Jess. I think that Alaska has some amazing sweet spots. I've been able to, get a great flight over to Tahiti, Bora Bora coming up. I've found some really good flights to Europe. So it's really hard. My first instinct was definitely to say the Capital One, but I am living in a United hub. I still really like to fly United. I love United Polaris. It's one of my favorite business class experiences. And I don't transfer over Chase to United. So to have another partner that I can transfer to United, it's so close. This is such a hard decision. But I think because I'm always looking for more United miles, I think I'm going to have to go for that because,
This was a good question too, because I think it just shows you've got to do things that work for you individually in your travel style. And for me, like I have Alaska cards and I've hardly ever redeemed the points because those are incredible sweet spots, but they're not with this stage of my life with having 4 young kids. It is hard to take advantage of a lot of those really awesome sweet spots. Whereas United, it's like, oh, I can get an economy flight home from Europe for 40,000 points and it'll get me to Salt Lake. I have a 1 layover in Denver and they're good flight times and it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I can pay a little extra to upgrade to premium economy. And it's like, when you know an airline program, it makes it easier too. And like you, Mom, I never transfer my Chase points to United. And so to have an option with, I would be willing to do that with American Airlines. And
You mean
I do,
American Express?
yeah, yes, thank you, American Express. But I do open up United co-branded cards. That's how I do it. And it would be nice to not maybe have to open as many of them because, you know, we've seen Chase get a little more picky on approving you, especially for business cards. And I think I've had the United business card like 3 times. And so wouldn't have to worry about my total number of Chase business cards as much. Kind of, I could let that go a little bit and just get more inks, ideally.
All right, Pam, you're up next. This next one is, would you rather? Okay, and the scenario is you're booking a big trip that's going to use a ton of miles. Would you rather book a flight using Chase Ultimate Rewards, but there's a 40% transfer bonus to the airline you want to book with? Or would you rather book a flight with Amex membership rewards, but there's no transfer bonus? And I know how much you all love Hyatt, so would you be willing 40% transfer bonus versus no transfer bonus?
That too is hard because that's something that I just rarely do. We did do it recently for transferring with a bonus from Chase to Flying Blue for a trip to Morocco we have going on. And that was only a 20%, I think, bonus. And we did do it. A lot would be how many points I'd have to use. You know, if it was really a lot, I probably wouldn't. I just really value my Hyatt stays so much that it's hurts my heart to transfer Chase to anything else other than Hyatt, and I can always earn more points. So I'm gonna probably go with, if it's a lot of points, keeping them for Hyatt and just booking them with something else. Did you say it was American Express?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Probably the points that you can earn the most because they offer such huge welcome offers is American Express. So I would just hope that I'd get a lot of targeted offers for Amex and I'd replenish those.
Right. Jess?
I sort of had this exact situation happen recently. It wasn't quite as high. I think it was a 20% bonus, but there was a 20% transfer bonus from Chase to British Airways. And I was booking on Qatar for my family of 5 to go to Tanzania. And with British Airways, you know, you can transfer from British Airways to Qatar. So that could have been a little bit of a workaround. But I went with Amex and just transferred my Amex and did not get a transfer bonus, just transferred directly from Amex to Qatar. 40% is a little tougher because that is a huge transfer bonus. I think I agree with Pam. Like, it depends on how many points. If we're talking like it's going to wipe me out of Chase points, like practically my entire stash, then I will not do that. I will transfer Amex. But if it was like half my Chase points, then I might be willing to do the bonus.
Alex?
I'm going to transfer my points from Chase and just
That's because you've got so many.
Because
You've got way more than Jess and I have, so that makes it a little easier.
Yeah, it does. And the reason I have so many more is I don't travel as much as you guys. So like I do like a few Hyatt stays a year, or I'll do like smaller things. I'm not booking very many like 5-night stays compared to these guys. Like Jess just came back from Japan and had a lot of Hyatt stays and had to get 2 rooms at a lot of these places. There's probably 2 or 3 times a year that we go as a whole entire family where I'm needing to use a lot of points. And we're not always staying at the most expensive places. And so between my husband and I both always earning the points, we actually are able to keep a pretty good stockpile of ultimate rewards. So I'm fine spending those if I get a 40% transfer bonus.
All right. And this will be our last question because I think we should end on something fun. Actually, it's a 2-part question. So we're talking about souvenirs from flights. There's legitimate souvenirs where if you fly Lufthansa first class and you have a transfer in Frankfurt or Munich, you can get the first class rubber duck that they give when you use the lounge. And we know on KLM, you can get the Delft house with, I think it has gin inside. But which would you rather collect and have a good collection of, the rubber ducks or the Delft houses?
I'm gonna go with the Delft houses.
For the
because
gin,
they're-
she really likes that gin.
Yeah, for the gin. No, I mean, the tricky thing is, I mean, it's first class with Lufthansa. That's cooler than business class on KLM. So you get a cooler experience if you're like, oh, I've got all these rubber ducks. That means I've done first class all this time. But I'd rather have like the Delft houses are really cute. They're a very cute decorative piece that looks really nice. I don't know if I want to decorate my office with a bunch of rubber ducks. So I'm going to go with the Delft houses.
Okay. Jess?
100% the Delft houses. You could
But
make
you
they're
are
all-
drinking. You are drinking the gin.
I actually haven't. I only have one, so it's sad. It's like it's just a little village of one house. But Traci and I are actually flying KLM business class together. And Traci, how much of a factor was that we would get a Delft house on the flight? Like a huge factor.
Yes. And it's silly because you could buy one, but it's not the same if you don't earn.
It's not the same.
So-
It's
So
not
they
the same.
currently have, I think, 105-ish different houses. And so every time you fly it, you can get a new house and you can have like a whole collection, a little village of houses. And so I think that is way more fun of a souvenir to kind of collect all the different houses. So I'm going the KLM Delft houses.
All right, Pam?
I am too. So it sounds to me like Lufthansa needs to come up with a different souvenir because it doesn't sound like everybody's after a group of ducks. So yeah, the Delft houses are really cute. I only have one, would like to get more.
I've got 3, so I'm winning.
Oh.
And guess Traci just posted in her stories the other day about some business class availability that she found on seats.aero. And one of them was Salt Lake to Amsterdam. And I was like, ooh, I
Get
could
it.
fly and get another Delft house. I didn't
Right.
book it though because I just don't have the time right now. But
That's one of the things
I'm-
that I'm always motivated by because we live in the Seattle area, but we don't have KLM here. But there's KLM in Portland and in Vancouver. So I'm always like, I could drive. I could drive for a house.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I am not spoiled out of Salt Lake. We have very, very few international flights going, to Europe or Asia. And KLM is one of them. So I am lucky I can do that flight and get a Delft houses.
Yeah. And Megan has like a whole collection, right? Because her whole
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
she's
she-
like, they've done it. Their whole family of 5 flew it. So she's got 5. I have 3, but
So Megan,
got to catch up with Megan.
Alex is in second. Jess and Pam are in third, and Jess is gonna be on the board soon. With
Man, I'm feeling pretty good. This is one thing I don't beat these two very much, but I am
Delft
winning at Delft
houses.
houses.
yeah. So
But I'm feeling good.
the second part to this airplane souvenir question is sneaky souvenirs. Would you rather have the Virgin Atlantic little airplane salt and pepper shakers? I think they call them like Wilbur and Orville. They're really cute. They're kind of like,
They're super cute.
or would you rather have maybe swiped the Turkish Airlines domed minaret salt and pepper shakers that I think they're magnetic and they're so cute. And
They're really cute.
I'm going to swipe Turkish, and I'm also taking the little tea light while I'm at it. And I think those are so cute. Like, I love those. I've actually thought about just asking them, like, can I have these? Because they're probably not that expensive. but
you
I
can
have
buy
yet.
them. People steal them and put them on eBay. I was looking, and you can buy them for like $20 on eBay.
I'll have to keep that in mind next time there's some manufacturer spending, stealing salt and pepper shakers and then selling them on eBay.
Pam, what about you?
I am completely non-observant. I have not noticed those.
She's already
Oh.
asleep. She didn't even get the meal. She's asleep.
So, I didn't even know there was such a thing. So I have no idea what they look like. So, and
Give me your.
I am way too much of a real follower to swipe anyway. So this isn't going to happen for this girl. I'd be so freaked out that I'd be caught. There's no way.
So Virgin Atlantic has actually taken to, on the bottom of the little plain salt and pepper shakers, it says swiped from, or not swiped, nicked, pinched. It says pinched from Virgin Atlantic because they know that people take them so often. So now they're,
So they don't even care?
I guess they're kind of expecting you to take them because they're so cute. So if it's,
Well, I'm going.
I feel like
I'm going on a Virgin Atlantic flight the end of this month. So you know what? I'm going to be checking those out, and maybe I'll get brave enough to swipe one.
you could make like a whole Delft House village and then have an airstrip. Like there's an airport in the village, or there's so many possibilities. What about you, Alex?
Okay.
Well, before you even said the village, I was going to go with the planes. I love the Turkish ones. Like, that is a hard choice, but just the little planes, like, I just think of how things would look in my office, and the little planes would look really cute.
Yeah.
So I'm going with that.
Yeah. I think that if you ask maybe nicely, it's like,
Yeah.
is it okay? Then maybe.
Yeah, I'd have to ask. I'm too much of a rule follower as well.
Yeah, I
same.
think probably have to ask too. I'm going to do that.
All right. Well, thank you all for taking these very, hopefully difficult questions. I feel like every time you said, oh, this is a hard one, I was like, yes, all right. And I think it's really cool to sort of see how you think about the different choices. And hopefully that was helpful to listeners. And it was really fun to get to think of these tricky questions to ask. It was.
You did. These were good questions. I thought
Really
this was
good.
really fun. So thanks for doing that for us.
Yeah. So,
And also, I have to tell everyone that Traci has been on Jeopardy
Oh.
before. And so she was living out her Alex Trebek fantasy by hosting this little podcast episode.
you don't have to
That's
say.
right. I forgot that.
Well, so my inner game show host has had a little fun today. So if you want to think of new scenarios that you can think about, would you rather, stick with Travel Mom Squad because we maybe have more of this coming.
Thanks so much for listening to Points Talk with the Travel Mom Squad. Make sure to hit the subscribe or follow button from wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. Want to start jet setting even faster? Follow the links in the show notes to learn about everything we discussed in today's episode. And to stay connected and follow along, follow us on Instagram at Travel Mom Squad. We can't wait to see where in the world points and miles take you.